Hey guys, welcome back to Coding Stuff, and in this video we're gonna learn how we can create drawer layout with navigation component in Kotlin. So as you can see here, I have opened my visor and you can see this hamburger icon and home fragment is showing up at the start. So if I click on this hamburger icon, the drawer layout will expand, and as you can see these are some options. So if I click on gallery fragment will be selected, and there are some other options as well. So if you click on tools fragment will be selected, and this will be UI or design of our app. So let me just minimize this, and as you can see this is empty project for now. So what we'll do, so first we need navigation component dependency. So I'll click on build.gradle app level. I'll go down and I have opened my Chrome browser. You can open your favorite browser and just search for navigation component Android dependency, and I'll click on this second link, which is get started with navigation component, and so I'll copy this and I'll paste it over here, Control V, and also need this nav version, so I'll copy this again and I will paste it over here. Cool, then I'll click on sync now. Okay, and we can also enable view binding. So for that I'll write build features and I'll make our view binding to true. Cool, and we'll click on sync now again. Till then I have added two colors, which is yellow and canary yellow. So you'll get this hex code. You can just copy this hex code or you can use your hex code, and also you'll get source code in the description box. So if you have some errors or if you want some resources from here, you can just check out the link in the description box, GitHub link. Alright, so it has been synced. I'll close this and I'll move to the themes. I'll change the color primary to yellow color, this one, and I'll change the status bar color to our canary yellow. Just delete this and cool, this one, and then I'll close this and I'll close colors as well. So first of all we'll create some fragments. So I'll click on new and select fragment blank. So first will be home fragment. Cool, then we need gallery fragment. So again new gallery fragment. So let me pause the video and create few more fragments. Alright, so I have prepared a few fragments. Let me just close all the Java files of those fragments. Cool, so first of all I'll go to the home fragment. Let me just open the home fragment layout as well, and here what I'll do, I'll just change this to home fragment, and I'll add the gravity center. So gravity and center. Cool, I can just copy these two lines from here and I can paste it in all the remaining layouts. This time this will be share fragment. I'll go to the send split layout. I'll paste those two lines. This will be send. Then I'll go to the tools. This will be tools fragment, and then the slideshow. So again slideshow, just make it slideshow. Then the gallery, last one, Control V. This will be gallery fragment. Alright, so all the layouts are done. I'll just close these tabs, and what I'll do, First we will create one resource directory, so I'll click on resource and new Android resource directory. I'll select navigation, click on OK, and I'll create one navigation resource file which will be main nav graph, and I'll add all the fragments. So first will be home, then I'll add gallery, then I'll add slideshow, so I can keep it over here. I'll keep this over here and I'll just minimize this. Cool. And after the slideshow, I'll add tools fragment, so tools, I'll keep it over here. Then I'll add share fragment, which I'll keep it over here, and I'll add send fragment. So it doesn't really matter which fragment you add first or later, it all depends on the menu resource file that we will create in a moment. So I'll go to the resource again, I'll create one Android resource directory, and this time I'll select menu, and over here I'll click again new menu resource file, and I'll name it as drawer menu. Cool. So I'll switch to the split mode. I'll collapse the project view. You have seen the introduction or the thumbnail image. We have one group of home fragment, gallery, slideshow and tools, and then we have another group which is separated, share and send, with one line. So first of all we'll add one ID to it, so I'll name it as group 1. Then checkable behavior, which will be single, we don't want all of them to be selected at once. And in here we'll add few menu items, so item, and this will be, let's just add icon to it first, and this will be baseline camera. Okay, let me just show you my drawables. I've added few drawables from Android, so if you want this you can just get it from my source code, or you can add yours as well. So let me just collapse this view. Okay, and we'll give it a title, so title will be home. Cool. And we need to provide it an ID, so ID. And one thing you need to be careful of choosing the ID, so make sure you give it ID similar to this one. So in here it is, in the main nav graph it is home fragment, so you must give the same ID in the drawer menu. So here I'll write home fragment. Alright, then I'll copy this, I'll paste few times like this. Cool. So after the home we have gallery fragment. Again I'll copy the ID from here, as it needs to be exactly same. I'll change this text to gallery, and I'll change the icon. Here I'll use one collections. Okay, and then we need slideshow fragments. I'll copy its ID, I'll paste its ID over here. I'll paste this as well. I'll remove the fragment, and I'll make this as small, and slideshow, and this will be video library icon. Cool. So after the slideshow we have tools fragment, so I'll copy its ID, I'll paste it here. We don't need this, I'll delete this, and this will be tools, and this will be build icon. Yeah. Alright, so this group is done. Now I'll create another group, and we'll give it an ID which will be group 2. We'll give it checkable behavior, and this time it will be single as well. Cool. And in here we'll add again few items. Let me just copy these 2 items from here, I'll paste it over here. Alright, so now we need send and share, so I'll copy the share fragment ID, I'll paste it over here, and I'll write share over here. Then we need send fragment, so I'll copy it again from here, paste it here, and this will be sent. So the icon will be share and this icon will be sent. Okay, cool. So our menu resource file is done. Now the last step, last two steps which are remaining, we need to go to the activity main. So I'll open the layouts, I'll go to the activity main, and here we need to add few things. First of all, we need to change the parent layout to drawer layout. So I'll select drawer layout, this one. I'll press Alt Control L. So in here first I'll add it ID. So ID, this will be drawer layout. Alright, and we'll add one property which is fit system windows, and I'll make it true, and then I'll remove this text view as we don't need it. Cool. So here then we can add the fragment container, but I'll select fragment. You can also use fragment container, it's totally depends on you. So the height will be match parent and width will be match parent as well. We'll give it an ID. So ID will be now host fragment. Also we can name it as a container, or you can just name it as a container. Alright, then one thing that you need to do carefully, which is adding the name. So its name is really important. First of all, we need to write it as Android X dot navigation dot fragment dot now host fragment. Cool. So you have to be careful while writing this name. It should be exactly same like this. This is how it works. So then we'll make it a default now host. We'll make this as a true. Cool. And this should come from Android. Sorry, it should come from app. Okay. Then we also have to add now graph. So app and now graph, you have to write this manually because it will not show these suggestions. Then we'll add our main now graph here. So main now graph. Alright, then our fragment container is done. So now we need to add the navigation view to it. So over here we'll write navigation view. This one, we'll give it an width as a wrap content and height as a match parent, and we'll give it a layout gravity to the start. We'll add a menu. So menu, which will be drawer menu. Alright, first parameter we should always give it an ID. So ID will be, just keep it as a nav view. Cool. We provide some elevation. So elevation of 10 dp or 8 dp, of 8 dp, and item icon tint. This one will select yellow color for our items, and item text color will also select yellow for this, and similarly we'll make it fit system windows to true. So if you watch our UI carefully, you can see we have some corners here and we have some margin from the bottom as well. So in order to achieve the margin, what you can do, you can give it a fixed height, or you can just provide it a margin. So for this video I'll use margin from the bottom, let's say 200 dp. You can adjust this, or you can I would suggest you to provide layout height to it. Whatever your requirements are depends on that. And we need this kind of rounded corners. So for that we'll create one drawable resource file. So I'll click on drawable resource file, and I'll name it as drawer bg. Cool. So instead of selector we'll use shape here, and I'll add the shape. So Android colon shape, and this will be rectangle. Cool. And we'll provide it a solid. which will be color white, and then we'll add the corners. So corners, and we just need a bottom right radius of 12 dp and top right radius of 12 dp as well. So top right radius of 12 dp. Again, you can adjust these numbers, it's totally depends on you. Then we'll go to the activity main, we'll just add the background. So background will be drawer bg. Cool. So now we are just remaining with our code part. So I'll go to the main activity. Let me just collab this, and first thing that we'll do, we'll create one latent var for binding. So binding activity main binding, and we'll initialize it over here. So binding, this will be equals to activity main binding dot inflate, and we need to pass the layout inflator, and instead of set content view the layout, we'll use binding dot root. Cool. Then we'll initialize our nav controller, which we will initialize lazily. So we'll use by lazy keyword. So by lazy, and inside this I'll write, in order to initialize the nav controller, we need to write navigation dot find nav controller. We'll pass this as activity or context, and then the id. So r dot id dot now host fragment container. Cool. So our initialization to nav controller is done. So what lazy does is it initialize our nav controller lazily. So whenever we need it, only then it will initialize it, and it will initialize it only once. Okay, so over here what we can do, I'll call one function which will be set up drawer layout, and I'll create that function over here. So private fun setup drawer layout. Cool. Let me just scroll it, and let me add few extra lines. So inside this setup drawer layout, what I will do, I'll write binding dot nav view setup with nav controller, and we'll pass the nav controller over here. Then we need to write another line which will be navigation UI dot setup action bar with nav controller, and here we need to pass activity as well. So this common nav controller, and then the drawer layout. So binding dot drawer layout, and we'll also override one function which is on support navigate up, this one. And in here, instead of returning this super callback, we'll return navigation UI dot navigate up nav controller comma binding dot drawer layout. Cool. And the last thing that we need to take care of is on back pressed. We want to collapse, or we want to we can say collapse. We want to collapse our drawer layout when it is open, if you click back or if you go back. Alright, so for that I'll just implement on back pressed, and so on back pressed is deprecated, but for this simple video I'm gonna still use it. So yeah, so first of all, here we need to check if the drawer is open. So for that we'll write binding dot drawer layout dot is drawer open, and we need to pass the gravity over here. So it is opened at start, we just need to check if it is opened or not. So if it is open, and there will be another case if it is not open. So if it is not open, we just want to go back, but if it is open, we want to close it. So for that, what I'll do, binding dot drawer layout close drawer, I'll call this function, and again we need to pass the gravity. So gravity start. So alright, I guess everything is done. So let me just click on the run button, and we'll see it's working or not. So yeah, it is installed, and as you can see, fragment home, it is written over here. But if I just click on this hamburger icon, you can see, let's just go to the gallery fragment. Alright, so yeah, this is working, and if I press back, it is going back. And if I click on this and then if I click on back, cool. And if I click on back, this will close the app. So yeah, this is working. But we need to change this label. So in order to change this label, we just need to go to the main nav graph, and over here, over here we can just write home fragment. I hope you can do this. So let me just run the app. You can do this with the rest of the fragments. Cool. So now it is home fragment. If I click on gallery, so gallery fragment, and if I click on share, this will be fragment share. You need to change it. So yeah, this is working, and I hope you understand. It was simple. Again, you can get my source code in the description box. So if you have some errors or issues, you can check with that. So yeah, that's it for this video. Do subscribe, and thank you for watching.